AM 590, KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Metro's only racing talk show. The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Buddy Ray.
Oh, the day has come. It's about time for the big announcement. Yeah, what we've been working on all week long, and for the last couple of weeks, the big announcement's been coming. So hang with us for just a little bit longer. This is the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. Outings, specials, events. It's all online at joeskarting.com, right?
Oh, yeah. Come see me. Buddy J at joeskarting.com, or you can call 712-565-278 and we'll get you set up.
We have a big show lined up for you today. Like I talked about, we'll make the big announcement, but it's not going to come in turn one. I'll tell you that much right now. We got a little bit of breaking down to do of the Sonoma race, the race that didn't happen last night, the points series. We're also going to talk a little bit of dirt track, and I got some questions for you as a driver to announcer to answer a couple of questions for me. In turn two will be the big announcement, so hang with us for just a little bit. Turn three, we're going to talk with Joe Koziski, and it's an abbreviated conversation with Joe because, well, like we do in our conversations with Joe, we rambled for about 20 so minutes. Yeah. and we had to cut it up for time, but if on Monday you go to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, you can get the full interview on there. So we'll have that posted for you Monday afternoon. You can hear the full interview, but we'll talk SLMR, we'll talk I-80 season so far, and we'll talk about the Silver Dollar Nationals with Joe Koziski in turn three. Turn four, we're going to re-preview Kentucky, means it got rained out last night. We'll also talk about the Coke Zero 400 coming up next Saturday night at Daytona International Speedway. And anything else we can think of? I think there's the True Grit Challenge at Eagle. So we'll talk about that in turn four. But before we get to all that, let's talk about obviously you and I both frequent Crawford County Speedway on Friday nights in Denison.
I hope you do. You're the announcer.
Some would say that I mentally I'm not there, but physically I'm there. But yeah, we're there quite a bit on Friday nights, and the last several weeks, we've had red flag incidents. 2 weeks ago, we had, and I think even on June 7th, it was a while ago, so I've forgotten, but on June 7th, we had a red flag incident because of hard accidents, hard wrecks, rollovers, that kind of stuff. We saw the accident 2 weeks ago on, June 21st, 23rd with Kara Webb when she rolled her car and destroyed it. And then Friday night, we saw two big accidents in different classes that guys walked away with destroyed race cars. Is there something going on with the track? Is it track prep that needs to be corrected? Is it officials that need to watch hard racing a little bit harder? Is it drivers that need to just back off a little bit? Or is it just good hard racing?
All of the above.
Okay.
I seriously think Denison, last year the track was really fast. Nobody knew what to expect. This year, and I was just talking to Bud Pash, the 07, Friday night before the races, and it seems like the cars that were there last year and the cars that are there this year, as a whole, were faster this year. Well, because we now have a year's racing underneath of it. We know what to expect, how to get around the track. The track did change 3 and 4 during the winter months. They added a little bit more banking, widened it out just a fuzz, I guess, or at least I was told. But I think what you're seeing is the result of true hard racing. I mean, any track you go to, there's going to be cars driving over their head a little bit or getting a little, too trigger finger happy with the throttle. But for the most part, I think you're just seeing the result of good, hard racing. There's a couple times you could sit there and, you might want to lift going into the corner. You might want to back off here. But, hey, just like Josh Most said here on the front stretch here a couple of years ago, sometimes these front runners, you only got 15 laps, 15 laps. So when you make a move, you got to make it right now.
You don't have time to screw around.
No, you don't.
The modified feature event is 20 laps, and Jesse Saubing needed all of it on Friday night to get up to He finished second or third?
Second.
Okay. Well,
15th to second.
I'm not going to question you on that. The president of the fan club, you know exactly.
But I tell you
what was his lap times, by the way? Do you have your stopwatch right going?
No, I almost thought about it. It's funny you say that because I actually thought about doing that. But
give us your phone call on your opinion of the racing if you've made it to Crawford County in the last couple of weeks. 402-573-0590. We'd love to hear from you. Also, your local track. Do you go to Shelby County? Do you go to Adams County? Eagle Raceway, I-80? Has it been a kind of a? We're not having the same year we did last year. Last year it was just dry. There was no moisture on the track. So what kind of racing condition will that add since there's more moisture in the air this year?
Well, there's more moisture this year, but I think like last night, Eagle Raceway, dry, slick track. The track actually started chunking up, and we had some pretty nasty ruts in a couple places, not real bad. Denison, dry, slick. Denison was actually a really nice track. Nice, dry, slick. I didn't think it was over the top.
That was beautiful track on Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
It was beautiful.
I tell you
weather.
what, though, of all the area tracks, I think Denison's really got it going on with their track prep. I'm not saying that they're perfect by any means. I'm not saying that at all. But for no longer than these guys have been in the game running a track, their track conditions are really good. But, in regards to the rollovers and the red flags, Denison is not the only track that we've had this problem. We've had it at Eagle. I know for a fact they've had it at I-80.
Yeah.
They've had some destroyed cars. Jay Noteboom last week.
2 weeks ago at Shelby County, Jay Noteboom took a heck of a roll.
Destroyed a brand new car. I think the racing has just gotten so intense, and the guys are racing so hard.
Well, that's great for the fans because I tell you, they've been putting on a heck of a show.
Yeah, they put on a heck of a show, but I tell you what, as a car owner, I don't like it.
Well, I hate to break it to you. Fans do enjoy a little bumping and wrecking every once in a while, as long as everyone gets up and walks away.
It's one thing if you trade sheet metal or get a little bit of a scuff mark, but I don't want to spend $30,000 to roll a car just to make you happy when you spend $8.
Kind of sound like Tony Stewart there. Apparently, we need to have figure eight races at Daytona to make the racing interesting.
Hey, isn't there figure eight races at Denison today?
Yeah, we're doing figure eight races coming up at gates open at 4, racing at 5 o'clock.
So, as a driver myself, looking at a track announcer, what happens when you don't normally get to see these guys and you go, well, there goes the pink car passing the blue car, and the black car just got lapped?
Yeah, it can. Well, okay, it's incredibly difficult to call a figure eight race because you have to pay attention to who's in first. Because they crisscross so often, you can't take your eyes off of first, which means you have no idea who's in second. But then you got, they email you the driver's lineup, and it takes you a couple of races to kind of figure out who's in what car.
Sometimes you don't know who's in first, and sometimes you don't know who's in second. You sound like you've been watching a Lewis and Abbott Costello movie.
Last year, at one point in time, I just admitted to the crowd, I'm sorry, I lost who's in first place. And I had no idea. It was one of the heat races qualifying for the feature event. But yeah, what we did we did one earlier in the year. It was like June, I want to say 8th or 9th was the first figure eight races, and we had a bonfire along the front stretch. Car rolled over, spilled a bunch of gas, so we lit it on fire. Nobody had any marshmallows, but I think we got that figured out this time. We're gonna have marshmallows this today, and some really hard racing. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. So
don't the townspeople and the countryside folk there in Denison, they show up pretty good?
Oh, they support that track like you wouldn't believe. It's great to see that there's a community, like all racing communities do. They support that track very, very well. So that's going on this Sunday. And then we got a lot of racing coming up next couple of days.
Oh, yeah, we do. Oh, the three guys Friday night at Denison.
Yeah.
They said the racers, the fans, these people were, for the listeners, they were doing like short film. They weren't interviewing drivers. They were just doing the sights and sounds of dirt track racing. 3 boys, couldn't have been 21, 22 maybe. They've never been to a dirt track race. The one kid's watched NASCAR before, but he's like, man, you guys, how in the world do you guys keep the cars from wrecking? Don't you get scared? They had a blast.
Did you just hear our conversation? We don't.
Yeah. But they actually said the folks up there at Crawford County Speedway, some of the nicest people they'd ever met. And you know what? The one kid, we were talking next to Bud Pash. He goes, man, the state of Iowa is beautiful. And I was like, well, yeah. I was like, what way did you come up? He goes, we took 80. And then to Highway 59, came up through Harlan. He goes, I've never seen so much green pasture. And I looked at him, I was like, where are you from?
Well, he should have been here a year ago.
Yeah.
It was a completely different story a year ago.
He goes, well, I'm from New York City. We don't have this in New York
Yeah, they have
City.
concrete.
Yeah, so but they had a good time.
573-0590, 402-573-0590. You can call in with anything you want to talk about with your local track, maybe some results, any concerns you got. We've got Buddy Ray Jones, driver of the number 25 Joe's Karting Sport Mod. He'd be glad to answer it from behind the wheel aspect of it. I would count myself a fan of the sport. I can try to give you my opinion, but it doesn't carry much weight. But let's take a break, and we'll be back in turn 2 to make that big announcement. This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, located just north of Bass Pro. Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 200 people, bachelor parties, corporate outings, team meetings, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
The Silver Dollar Nationals at I-80 Speedway are just around the corner on July 18th, 19th, and 20th. Don't miss the nation's top USMTS, MLRA, and Lucas Oil dirt late model racers as they compete at Nebraska's fastest track. Come watch the nation's best dirt races compete for a $27,000 to win payout. Tickets, prices, and packages at 402-342-3453. The third annual Silver Dollar Nationals at I-80 Speedway, July 18th, 19th, and 20th.
In 1999, Wade Cross decided he was tired of overpaying for shocks, so he created FX Shocks. Now FX suspension customers reach across the United States with countless wins and championships, including national champion in 3 major IMCA classes, plus Super Nationals champions in all 4 of the Saturday night's main events. Get your FX Shocks today. One-on-one consultation is waiting for you at 308-383-9609, 308-383-9609.
We're working the High Line into turn 2 on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to The Front Stretch, presented by, turn 2 is presented by I-80 Speedway. Get your Silver Dollar Nationals tickets today. You can pick them up at the box office at Kaziski Auto Parts. This is important. We'll talk to Joe Kaziski about it more in turn 3. But to be honest with you, I can't remember if we cut that conversation out, that part of the, because we had to cut out 10 minutes of our conversation. So we missed a lot of conversation in there, but I'll just reiterate it. Up until Thursday, July 18th, you cannot buy Silver Dollar Nationals tickets at the I-80 box office at the track.
Cannot buy them at the track. You
cannot. That's important to understand because we have a big announcement coming up in a few minutes regarding those tickets. So you cannot. You can pick them up at 5040 Ice Street, which is Kaziski Auto Parts. Hop in there, talk to Lee Ackerman, pick up your tickets. You can see some of the cool stuff they've got hanging up on the walls with the different winners for the Silver Dollar Nationals, some of the different people that have come through I-80 Speedway and autographed items. So the third annual Silver Dollar Nationals, July 18th, 19th, and 20th. Get your tickets today. It was an awesome show last year. Brian Burkhofer was your 2012 winner. Don O'Neill, your 2011 winner. And we're going to have more conversations about the Silver Dollar Nationals in turn 3 with Joe Kaziski, so make sure to stick around for that. All right, the big announcements. We are very, very, very excited. Buddy and I have been working really hard to get this all lined up and all figured out and everything put together. And the Front Stretch is proud to announce the Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet Saturday, July 20th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs.
It'll be my first official appearance.
Don't worry, Buddy is banned from the presence. It will feature drivers that...
Who?
One, you know him as the Marquette Missile. The man who won the 2013 Charlie Clark Memorial, Kyle Burke, will be joining us.
Ooh.
Driver of the 14 late model and the 33A modified. Kyle Burke will be joining us. Gave me a call on Friday. Said, Dan, I'd be happy to come. And I thought,
the Marquette missile. Kyle Burke.
How about we add another driver, another local flavor to it? The 2012 Silver Dollar Nationals winner, the Berkey, Kyle Burkhofer. Let's add Kyle Burke to the mix.
Wow. All right.
Kyle Burke will be sitting
We
there.
got Burkhofer, Berkey. Okay.
I'm not done there.
Really?
I got one more name. You know him as the Voodoo Child, the Dirt Tracks Dominator.
Voodoo Child. That almost sounds like one of my ex-mamas.
One of your baby's moms. He goes by nicknames as the Voodoo Child and the Dirt Tracks Dominator. He has graced the airwaves once before as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series. He has graced the Dirt Tracks scene years and years. Driver of the number 0, Scott Bloomquist, will be at the Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet Saturday, July 20th.
Bloomer's coming.
I got him.
Scott
I can't believe we locked that down, but yeah.
Wow.
He gave me a call while he was sitting on a beach, by the way, in Florida. He said, I'm not doing anything right now. I said, well, you got a beer in your hand? He said, well, yeah, of course.
well, yeah.
I said, so we had a good conversation. He said, yeah, I'm coming up for the Silver Dollar Nationals. Wouldn't miss it. And I asked him, can I get a couple hours of your time to go meet the fans? And he said, of course. I would love to come out.
You know, a lot of people think that Bloomy is pretty cocky and arrogant. And quite honestly, when you've had the success that gentleman has had in his 30, 35 years of racing plus, okay, he can be afforded that. You know, he's that good.
Yeah,
but
he is.
But he's mellowed
back it
out.
up.
He can back it up, but he's also mellowed out a lot. And he's actually, we've talked to him quite a bit here. He's actually a really nice, laid-back Southern guy.
It was really easy to talk to as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series. I was kind of worried about that conversation because I heard that he was hard to get information out of, like some of these dirt track drivers
And
are.
then he just gives us his phone number over the airwaves.
He just went off on I think our conversation with him was about an hour. A little over an hour. It was about an hour 20. We had to trim it down for the on-air, and then the full version is up on YouTube. You can always go back and listen to those. So, Scott Bloomquist, this is no trick. It's not some play on words. The Scott Bloomquist will be at the Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet, but we got one more guy to announce. Are you ready for this one?
I know who this is.
Of course, we threw in a little NASCAR flavor, and everyone's excited about this. It was kind of leaked earlier in the week that this driver was coming to the Silver Dollar Nationals to race his modified. Kenny Schrader, the 1985 Winston Cup Rookie of the Year, and the 1982 USAC Silver Crown Champion. Also, the 1980 USAC Rookie of the Year. He'll be coming to the Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet.
And Joe's Karting will be proud to sponsor that modified at the Silver Dollar Nationals.
Yep.
And I got another little flavor to add to this. You take your Silver Dollar.
Hold on, we'll get there. I'll let you get there. We'll get there. But first, again, the details. Saturday, July 20th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's going to be 2 hours. And honestly, with these drivers, you try to be a little conservative on who all is going to be there, you know, the amount of people that are going to be showing up. And I'm a little worried that 2 hours isn't going to be enough time for everybody to meet the driver they want to. I mean, people are going to want to meet Burkhofer. People are going to want to meet Burke. Obviously, we're also going to throw in one more driver that we're trying to get secured, and we've got a special final person we're going to throw in there. And then there's going to be the Bloomquist fans are going to want to talk to Scott. And then, obviously, you got your Schrader fans, the NASCAR diehards that grew up in the 80s watching Kenny race, and it'd be great to finally see him and get to meet him. Saturday, July 20th at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. Weather permitting, we're going to have the tent set up outside. We're going to have everybody able to just kind of walk around and meet and greet with the fans or with the drivers.
So far, let me get this straight. We've got Brian Burkhofer, Scott Bloomquist, Kyle Burke, Kenny Schrader.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, we've got one more driver that we're trying to secure. And we're going to go one step further because you and I have been going back and forth on who is that sixth driver we go for.
Yep.
We want to make it a good half dozen. Who is that sixth driver? And we've argued. No. You got to go with this guy. I don't know. I think I got to go with this guy. I've consulted with Joe Koziski. I've consulted with Lee Ackerman. I've consulted with a lot of people. Who is that sixth and final driver? And finally, I'm going to take a page from the NASCAR Sprint Cup All-Star race. I'm going to let you guys decide. It's going to be the fan vote. Go to a Facebook page, the Front Stretch's Facebook page. I'm going to post it during Turn 3. It's going to be a questionnaire. You could insert your own driver, and then fans can vote on those drivers. We'll take the top 5 vote getters, and we'll have a final 5 contest.
How long do we have to make our suggestions?
Not very long, because, again, drivers have to have time to kind of coordinate things. So I'm going to give you until Wednesday to post all of your drivers that you want. Okay. And then we will revote, and then we'll announce it next Sunday.
Okay,
because we're live next Sunday.
Fair enough.
We're not done there. There's so many aspects to this whole Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet Saturday, July 20th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. 1 a.m. Woo! The final day of the Silver Dollar Nationals. But you talked about we needed something special with the Silver Dollar Nationals tickets.
Yep, so what I've talked to Rich, my boss, and what we've decided is he kind of let me take the lead on this. You bring your Silver Dollar National tickets over to Joe's Karting for the month of July. I will give you a free race. We're just going to take a little paper puncher. We're going to punch a little hole in your ticket. You get a free race. So if you've never been to Joe's, come on over. We'll give you a free day pass. We'll give you a little race. And then, after that, your free race. If you want to race again, you'll have to get like a $3 day pass. And then the races are $13.50. But bring your Silver Dollar National tickets over to Joe's Karting. You will get a free race in the month of July.
And that's why it was important for you to listen to us earlier when we were talking about this. For general admission tickets for the Silver Dollar Nationals, you have to pick them up at the I-80 office window, not at the track. At the office, which is at 5040 I Street. It's attached to Koziski Auto Parts. That's where you go to pick up your general admission tickets. Reserved seating. You guys could pick up your tickets at I-80 starting Thursday, July 18th. Now, the reason why they're separate is because I-80 is selling general admission, but there is an online seller that's selling the reserved seats. Those tickets don't arrive at I-80 until July 18th. You can go out and pick up your tickets for the Thursday, Friday night races and then bring them with you to the meet and greet. You are essentially a VIP when you prove to us that you have Silver Dollar Nationals tickets. Along with getting yourself a free race at Joe's Karting, and an absolutely free race, by the way, at Joe's Karting, you also go to the front of the line for the meet and greets. So you can essentially alleviate any worry of getting to meet all of your drivers by just simply having your Silver Dollar Nationals ticket with you that day. 1 ticket per person, though. As soon as you go through the line, we're going to mark it so that way, because we got to keep it fair. We want you guys to be VIPs, but we also don't want somebody just hogging up all the time because we got to get a lot of people through. And I'm throwing in one more added value on that ticket. You bring your Silver Dollar Nationals ticket into the restaurant at Quaker Steak and Lube from 11 to 1. 20% off your ticket, off your food items. He can't discount beer because there's
no. And let me give you a little disclaimer here. By all means, go to Quaker Steak and Lube, have your favorite adult beverage, meet your favorite dirt track racer. Just don't come to Joe's after you have your favorite adult beverage.
Let's not do any drunk driving.
No, we don't condone that.
Out in public or at Joe's Karting, it's not advised at all. So, again, the details. The Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet presented by The Front Stretch at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs from 11 to 1 on Saturday, July 20th. Bring your Silver Dollar Nationals tickets. You're going to meet drivers like
Kyle Burke, Scott Blomquist, Brian Burkhofer, and NASCAR veteran and Dirt Track Hall of Fame, Kenny Schrader.
We're also going to be working on getting one more driver plus the fan vote. Get over to the Front Stretch Facebook page. I'll be posting the question in just a few seconds. As soon as we go into turn 3, and I got a second to kind of get caught up here, I'll be posting the question. You guys tell us who you want.
Who do you think in the fan vote?
Boy, it could be Bill Layton.
Kelly
Bill
Bowen.
Layton Jr., Kelly Bowen. Kelly Bowen will be at the Silverado Nationals, not driving. He's going to be coming down.
Travis Dickus.
Travis Dickus would be a great driver. There are so
Larry
many
Phillips. Terry Phillips. Terry Phillips.
I was going to say, because I think Larry passed away.
Yeah, it's Terry Phillips. Okay.
Even though he's a NASCAR Hall of Famer, but Terry Phillips would be another good one. So you tell us who that sixth and final driver will be.
Denny Dave Eckrich. Ryan Gustin.
Andrew Kaziski.
Oh, we got to go after Andrew.
He called us and said, get out. I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
We couldn't afford that appearance fee.
Yeah. Andrew's been working very hard to help us out with this, and I do appreciate all the help with I-80 and everybody over there that's helped us out with this. So that is it, the Silverado Nationals meet and greet. Kurt Bonner is on the phone line, on line one, but unfortunately, we got to get to Joe. And then in turn 4, Kurt, we'll get to you, and we'll talk about this True Grit Challenge at Eagle Raceway that you're helping to put on. Plus, we'll have any conversations that you want to have. It's all lined up for you in turn 4. But before we get to all that, turn 3 is just around the corner. Joe Koziski lined up, ready to go. This is The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
It's time to check out what all the dirt drivers already know. Joe's Karting is the Metro's best place to go for kart racing, where the only speed restriction is how good you are, reaching up to 45 miles per hour while twisting and turning through a 25,000 square foot building. Joe's Karting is sure to raise your heart rate. It's time to find out how fast your knuckles will turn white. Located in Council Bluffs, just north of Bass Pro and next to AMC Theaters. Online at joeskarting.com. Get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
This week's Legend of Tomorrow on the front stretch is Tyler Drosty. Tyler got his start at the age of 7 racing cage karts at Cresco Speedway. After 5 years of cage karts, Tyler stepped up into B-Mod and took his first trip to Victory Lane 1 year later at Cresco Speedway. That same year, Tyler went on to win the track championship at Decorah Speedway. In 2012, Tyler claimed 21 feature wins, along with the track championship at Independence Speedway, and took 4th at the Boone Super Nationals after leading for more than half of the race. Tyler says his biggest highlight of 2012 was racing at the Fall Jamboree at Deer Creek Speedway in Wisconsin. Tyler took home 3rd in a field of 147 cars and was the only B-Mod exclusive driver to finish in the top 10. For 2013, Tyler has moved up to IMCA Modified and plans on running for track championships at Independence and Farley Speedways. Keep your eye out for Tyler Drosty, this week's Legend of Tomorrow on the front stretch.
Time to grab another tear-off and make your move. We're headed into turn 3 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting.
And we're back into turn 3, and this is our portion where we sit down and talk with a local dirt driver or important person in the area. And I don't think we can get any more important than a promoter and former racer himself. Good friend of the front stretch. Joe, it's always good to have you in studio.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm just breaking the monitor here. Joe's like, I don't think it's supposed to move like that.
I thought you was going to have it on the keyboards there in about another poll.
Owner, co-owner, promoter of I-80 Speedway, organizer for SLMR, and owner of Koziski Auto Parts. Joe Koziski joining us in studio to talk SLMR, I-80 season, and Silverado Nationals. Let's start with, let's go with the season at I-80. How are you guys doing over there?
Season I-80's been going real good. We had our drivers' appreciation night here a week ago, packed the place out. We've been averaging about 105 cars a week, so, not as good as a couple of the tracks, but a lot better than a lot of the tracks.
Yeah.
So, that's just kind of how that goes. I'm up and down everywhere you go.
And this week in the Sling and Dirt that we released on Thursday, we talked about how this is definitely not the year to be a promoter, and you guys have had it a little bit rough. I-80's had a little bit better. I think you guys have had only a couple rainouts, right?
We've had a couple rainouts. We lost the real good one with the World Outlaws. That was the one that really hurt us the most, is losing that one.
I really wish you wouldn't have brought that up.
We're still a little heartbroken. But we were honestly talking, a lot of drivers and a lot of fans think that just because you rain out, I-80 or Denison or Eagle or whoever it is that rained out, they saved money tonight. That's not the case.
Yeah.
Sometimes it costs you more money to not run that night.
Well, any advertising dollars you've spent is gone. Any dollars you've got in property taxes, any electricity that flows through the place, you've kept the coolers cool, you've done everything. I mean, you're spending money all year long. You go and you mow all the grass, getting ready for the Friday night show, and all of a sudden it rains out, and it all costs.
It's a tough thing to do to decide. Yeah, let's call the races or not call the races, because you got to do it early, very early. And you guys waited. It was the SLS Promotions guy who waited till the last minute to call the races for World of Outlaws. And I know you guys have done very well on the Facebook page of kind of working with the drivers. But there is an inevitable point where you got to say, you know what, we just can't do it.
And some days it works that way. And, sometimes you get a fan that didn't check before he come or drove from the opposite way the rain was coming, and it was nights where he was at, and he drove 3 hours, and he gets on you because you do everything you can. I mean, there's no way to call every fan and be able to tell them, and you just try to do the best you can. We try to put it on Facebook, try to put it on our, our own website of I-80 Speedway, and just from there. How's
the SLMR series, the super late model series that you and is Gary? I'm sorry, I can't remember who has helped you run that.
Rick Holling.
I should remember that. Sorry. How's that going for you guys?
We've been doing real well. Car count's been up this year again.
Good.
So, I keep hearing car count down, and I've really been lucky at I-80 Speedway and with the SLMR series. Our opener had 22 cars. I was nervous the first race of the year.
Yeah.
But we've had more cars than that every race since.
Good.
So.
Good. That's good to hear. And when you've got a specialized series like that's focused on keeping the late models healthy, it's good to hear that those are coming in. So when's your next race? I know
Friday night we got the Alphabet Soup. Oh, wait a minute, that'll be over by the time this radio show.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll cut it out.
Alphabet Soup. Next race will be Friday, July 5th. We've got our Fire, Military, and Police Appreciation Night, and we have given out to the Fire Military. We have, we've given out, well over 15,000 tickets just to the police, fire, and military. 73 fire departments and police departments have all received tickets. They've all got extra tickets if they call. We've got 5,000 tickets that was given out down to the Offutt Air Force Base. When we're all done, we're going to be over 15,000 tickets, and I'm hoping that we get the people there. It's all about them this time.
And where's the July 5th race at? Is that I-80?
Yep, at I-80.
Okay.
Yep. Now, that's not an SLMR race. That is our next race at I-80 Speedway.
That's your weekly series.
That's our weekly series race, yes.
I don't want to change subjects here, but you were talking about all the free tickets that you were giving out. When you did the
driver's appreciation.
The driver appreciation, how many tickets were ended up giving out over that?
Over that time frame was about 17,000.
Wow.
Yep, about 17,000 tickets.
Who ended up having the most tickets turned in? Do you remember roughly?
Don Moore.
Somebody told me he had like 2,500 tickets.
Well, he got about 1,600 tickets he gave out, and so he ended up winning. And he's got a fire suit coming from last year, yet he's never collected on it. We ask him all the time, and he'll have a fire suit from this year that he'll be collecting on. So, yeah. Okay, back to your question about SLMR. July 4th is our next SLMR series race.
That was a little awkward.
A little bit.
You can move things around, can't you?
Oh, yeah. I'll edit that out. Don't worry about it. With as goofy as we are, I'm getting good at editing.
Okay.
Columbus Speedway or US 30 Speedway?
Yep, US 30 Speedway on July 30. US 30 Speedway on July 4th. They had a great one there last year. I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever seen so many people pack into their grandstands. It was a phenomenal night up there. And, they've got a great little racetrack. It's not a 3/8, but it's not a quarter mile. It's a great-sized racetrack. It's wide. The late models put on a great show there.
Wouldn't that almost be like a 5/16 mile, maybe?
I don't know what you call it, but it's a good-sized racetrack. It's just perfect, really.
Outside of halves and quarters, I'm terrible at fractions.
Yeah.
I stick to my basic ones. The biggest lines on the ruler, those are the ones I know.
Yeah.
After that,
when it comes to racing, we know quarter, 3/8, and 4/10.
Yeah.
That's about our vocabulary with fractions.
Then Boone County Speedway, July 8th in Albion, Nebraska, and then you're back at I-80 for July 18th.
Yep, it's the opening night of the Silver Dollar Nationals. The SLMR's back with the Nebraska 360 Sprinters that night.
And that's a good transition there. Let's talk Silver Dollar Nationals.
Ooh, yeah.
Very, very exciting announcement we just made last turn. And first off, thank you for working with us on that. I know you set up a lot of the information for us to get some of the drivers that we've gotten. You're also helping us secure more drivers, so always appreciate that. Let's talk about those Silver Dollar Nationals. Get your tickets today to the Silver Dollar Nationals because they're going to go quickly. I know you guys have reserved seating available. And where can you get those?
The reserved seating, if you go to our website at i80speedway.com, you can there's a button to press that's for the Silver Dollar Nationals. If you press on that, it'll take you right to the reserved seating. You can buy your reserved seats, get a set by the aisle like a lot of people want to do and not out in the middle of the aisle. Mm-hmm. Or you can sit in the middle of the aisle if you don't want to be bothered by the people on the outer end of the aisle.
How far away are some of these people coming from?
We've sold tickets, we know, in North Carolina, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, both Dakotas, and Colorado.
Some of the big races, obviously July 18th is going to be kind of the warm-up for the major races. It's practice for the 19th and 20th.
Yep, it's practice for the Lucas Oil Late Model Series and the MLRA Series. It's practice for the USMTS cars. But on the same night, what we try to do is we try to give them a racetrack so they know what's going on. So the SLMR cars with the Nebraska 360 Sprinters, and I believe it's the B mods, will all three be there on Thursday night. And then we can give them a true, so they know what the racetrack's like when they come out in their practices for the next night.
Something that's a little rubbered down, that's going to have something on it so that they're not walking out to a virgin track.
One that's got a lot of mud, one that's got mediocre mud, because we let them go out again at what would be intermission.
Yeah.
And then after the features are over, we give them another hour so they've got a good dry racetrack to know what to expect.
I remember being out there last year for the Silver Dollar Nationals because I made the because that's the night I wrecked at the Silver Dollar Nationals in the B mods.
In the B mods, yes, sir.
Dad's like, why are we going to the Silver Dollar Nationals? I was like, are you kidding? I got the biggest names in late models. I was like, I want to see some stupid breakneck fast speeds out here in these late models. And there was a lot of drivers that you didn't typically see for your weekly show up that night to race, just so we could stand around for the next hour and watch these guys hot-footed around I-80 Speedway. And that was magical. That was awesome.
Friday night is qualifying for Saturday night, right?
Friday night is qualifying for Saturday night for the late models. Okay. The USMTS cars run a complete show on Friday night. Yep. And I'll tell you what, if you ever wanted to watch great modifieds and watch them have a good race, last year we could have thrown a blanket over the top 5 cars on the Friday night show at any time. They're the feature division Friday night. The late models run 2 qualifying heats, so every name gets to run twice in the late models, and then the USMTS features the last thing of the night. And when them guys came out last year, the people in the stands, the races was over, and they was like they wasn't going to get up out of their seat. They were still sitting there in awe going, I want to see more.
The qualifying heats, when you're talking about the qualifying heats with the Silver Dollar National late models, it's not like a standard heat race where it's like, okay, top 4 make the inverter draw. No. You do it a little different. Explain that real quick.
A lot different.
Yeah.
A lot different. I-80, as you know, does a lot of things a lot different. We like to pay $2 bills to winners, and we like to, it's like our Alphabet Soup paid $3,700 to win that we just had on Friday night. It's a different deal. But the qualifying, basically you draw for a heat race spot. You don't go time trial like they do all across the country. So if you draw on the front of the first heat, when you come out for your next heat, you're going to be starting in the last row of the next heat. And then it goes on passing points, kind of an average finish with the passing points, how many cars you passed over the 2 races. And that's where your point standings put you into the race.
Now, talk about there's a B feature segment to this also.
Yes.
What's that about?
Well, the B feature, the top 18 cars make it in the first part through passing points, and then they run a B feature, and the B feature will take another 6 cars, and then they get the provisionals, and then they run what they call the Belt Clash. Al Belt Custom Homes puts on the Belt Clash, and the Belt Clash is for the non-qualifiers, and that race is going to pay $2,700 to win this year with $1,500 for second. I mean, that's as much as any regional big race in the country, and these are the guys that didn't make the race. So,
Now, and then also with the Silver Dollar Nationals, now this is a cool deal. If you can describe this fan fund.
the fan fun going on right now. The guys at the Rest of the Dirt Ron Meyer's doing a great job. The fan fun, what the fan fun does and what we hope it to do, and we've tried to team up with it. First of all, we wanted them to help us out get this to $2,700 because last year we only paid $1,500 to win. Mm-hmm. And I went to them and says, guys, if you can help us get $2,700, we'll make this thing pay $2,700 to win. Well, as of right now, they're at about $1,400, and it's the fans are throwing it in to bring the best competition. The more they can get, the better competition cars that'll be here for that race, because after all, if they don't make the race, they know they got the chance to make this $2,700. Now, if they get more than $2,700, they've got some guys that they would like to donate, $500 a piece to, or a couple things like that, in order to get them to come to the race and get as many good late model race cars here as they can possibly get. I know they've talked to Donnie Moran and Devin Moran. Devin's a young 16-year-old kid he's doing magnificent. And if they get enough money over the $2,700, they want to get Devin and try to get him here.
Onto the part that everyone is obviously there to see. Who are we going to see racing? We obviously talked about it in Turn 2. Brian Burkhofer is going to be there. Kenny Schrader is going to be there. Scott Bloomquist. Who else have we not mentioned that is going to be there?
I know that Billy Moyer will be there. I know that Jimmy Mars will be there. I know the Lucas Oil top 10 in points will be there, which is a big thing. I mean, Jimmy Owens, probably as close to number one in the country as you can get. I mean, he's won the Lucas Oil Point Championship the last couple of years. Billy Moyer Jr., his son will be there this year because he's racing for their Rookie of the Year. You got the Clint Boyer cars of Jared Landers and Steve Francis.
Coming.
Oh, yes, they're both coming.
You think there's any chance that we could maybe see a Clint Boyer appearance on Friday night?
I don't want to make them promises. Clint will not be there on Friday night. Clint will not be there on Saturday night. But the opportunity that he may be there on Thursday night for practice, come up and watch the first part of the race, it's a possibility, but I don't want to make any promises because he does a big golf outing and a steak dinner. He does it's a charity thing he does in his city of Emporia, Kansas, and he's built a couple parks and done a couple things like that through these through these benefits he's done, and that's kind of his weekend off, and he goes and does that every year.
What about 2011 winner Don O'Neill? Will he be back this year?
Oh, absolutely. He's in the top 10 in the points. Don O'Neill will be there. I just can't remember who all's in the top 10. Now, I talked to Tyler Reddick a couple weeks back, and Tyler said he's going to be there, and he's not in the top 10 this year. And what I'm really hoping for is the World Outlaws get done running their West Tour the weekend before, and I'm hoping they go to Lakeside Speedway and race the race there on Tuesday night, go up to Webster City on Wednesday night.
And they can make a swing right through here.
Oh, yeah. They're racing for another $50,000 for the ones that'll stay around. So, it's a possibility we could see Tim McCready or
Barefoot Tim McCready.
Oh, you betcha. He's a great guy. I'm hoping that we can see him this year.
So, good question for you. Is Lee Ackerman down there at the ID office? Has he started building his Newport Nightmare Shrine?
Well, Lee has got the Newport Nightmare everywhere. Jimmy Owens is Lee's man.
Yeah. So, kind of in the hot seat right here. If you had to pick 3 drivers to win the feature, who's your pick? Because this is already starting to come up. Everybody's asking who's your top 3 to win.
It's tough to say though this early because you haven't seen anybody running yet.
I'm gonna kind of go out on a limb here. I got to pick the past 2 winners and Jimmy Owens, and I hate to ever go against Scott Bloomquist or anybody else I'll tell you what, there's 15 guys there. I mean, we got Kyle Burke here in town. We got Terry Phillips could pop one off. I've watched John Anderson get around that racetrack as good as anybody in the country. If he hits it just right, he could be the man.
Yep.
I don't know which one it's going to be. I'm excited. That race there, I want to be the biggest fan in the world. I've got to be there, and I got to work. And when that feature goes on, you know what? I go out to the racetrack, and I stand in the middle.
You're taking Burkhofer, O'Neill, and Jimmy Owens. I'm taking Billy Moyer Sr., Yeah, Don O'Neill and Jimmy Owens.
I'm just going to go with Scott Bloomquist then.
Hey,
plain and simple.
We've all got great choices, and we ain't even got half the field picked.
Yeah.
We got great
you got
choices.
Landers could pop one off really easy. Donnie Morant, if he shows up, he could pop one off. Like you said, Burke. Kyle Burke, I mean, you've raced against Kyle Burke and Johnny. I mean, two of the best that the Midwest has to offer. Steve Francis.
Oh, Silver Dollar Nationals, July 18th, 19th, and 20th. Come see drivers like Jimmy Owens, Steve Francis, Don O'Neill, Jared Landers, Billy Moyer Jr., Scott Bloomquist. The list goes on. Kyle Burke, Brian Burkhofer.
Jimmy Mars.
Who am I missing?
Jimmy Phillips. Terry Phillips.
The amount of drivers that are going to be there, all vying for a $27,000.
Let's don't pass the Simpson brothers.
Right.
Oh, the Simpson brothers,
Simpson.
Chad and Chris Simpson. I mean, we're talking great guys.
Eckriches, are they going to be there?
Eckriches, there you go. There's a couple more.
Man, Eckriches are going to be there.
Wrapping it up real quick, let me ask you this question, because one thing we threw out there in turn 2 was that, we've got our drivers that we knew people would want to see for this meet and greet, the Scott Bloomquists, the Kenny Schraders, and Brian Burkhoff. We're doing 2 more drivers we're trying to secure, and then we're going to do a 6th fan vote driver. Joe Koziski, who do you want to see? Who would you want to see?
All these guys are my friends. That's kind of a bad
I'd
question.
like to see it be a local driver.
A local driver.
Everybody wants to see the Morans and the Bloomquists and the Schraders. But I want a local driver. I would say
a local driver would maybe be a Kyle Burke. That he's got a great fan following.
Yeah,
a lot of people like him.
John Anderson.
You mentioned the Simpson boys, but quit helping him. I want to know who's Joe a fan of. And it's tough for you to say because you're so embedded in the community that if you say one person, it may make somebody else mad. But
I consider all of them as my friends, and I don't have one that I feel better than the other about.
Kelly Bowen?
Kelly Bowen's not going to be here to race.
He said he's going to come, though.
Well, if Kelly's going to come, Kelly should go there.
Yeah.
Kelly should go be on that show because there's a lot of people that'll want to go there and, throw a glass of beer at him and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of people that'll be there because Kelly was Kelly. He was Kelly.
The funnest conversations I've had with the driver been with him. He doesn't. He's no bones about it. He'll tell you what he's thinking, and he'll throw a joke in there. I love talking to the guy, and I can't wait to buy him a beer.
Yeah, there you go. I hope Kelly comes, and I hope he does it. I mean, there's so many good guys. I mean, I could sit here and say I'd have to take all 25 of the top picks that I would pick because that's what I'd have to do.
July 18th, 19th, and 20th. Practices for the late models on the 18th. USMTS, SLMR, B-Mods, and Nebraska Sprints on Thursday. USMTS Modifieds, a complete show plus a late model qualifying on Friday the 19th. Then the 20th, you've got the full late model show plus USMTS Racing. Oh, man.
It's qualifying, when you watch them guys like Bloomquist and more in them, Burkhofer, they have to start last in one race because they're going to start. They're going so hard. It is just amazing because they don't get to use that time trial, and I get to start up front.
i-80speedway.com for more information. You can also head by the ticket office at 40 I Street in Omaha. Don't go out to I-80 before Thursday night. You can't get your tickets out there. Can they buy them on regular Friday night races? Can they get their tickets there, or do they have to get them
we can't. We're selling them at the office. They can go to the office today or call Lee and get them at the office now or at the website.
You're not selling them at the track.
We're not selling them at the track right
402-342-40. Oh, boy. 402-342-3453 is the number to get your tickets to the Silver Dollar Nationals.
What's your ticket sales been like so far? I mean, can you say if you've sold 3, 4, 5, 6,000?
I wished I sold that many. I wouldn't have nothing to worry about. No. Ticket sales at this time of the year, you probably sell somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 to 400 before the week of, and that's about where you're at. So right now, there's a lot of good seats yet to grab. If you're going to buy and you want good seats, grab them now.
It's important that I ask that because, man, last year I was sitting in the stands for a few minutes at the Silver Dollar Nationals, and there was not an empty seat in the house. I mean, it was like Mardi Gras at I-80 Speedway. It was a fun time. It
was a great show last year. Can't wait for it this year. As always, Joe, we appreciate your support of the show and you coming on and taking your time. I told you we'd only take 10 minutes of it, and here we've gone and rambled on. I've made you late for another meeting, as I typically do. Have a great one, Joe. We always appreciate it. This has been Turn 3 on the Front Stretch. We'll be back.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, located just north of Bass Pro. Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 200 people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team meetings, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
The Silver Dollar Nationals at I-80 Speedway are just around the corner on July 18th, 19th, and 20th. Don't miss the nation's top USMTS, MLRA, and Lucas Oil dirt late model racers as they compete at Nebraska's fastest track. Come watch the nation's best dirt races compete for a $27,000 to win payout. Tickets, prices, and packages at 402-342-3453. The third annual Silver Dollar Nationals at I-80 Speedway, July 18th, 19th, and 20th.
For 50 years, Eagle Raceway has been pushing the limits of dirt track racing. Weekly Saturday night racing features the Midwest's best battling at the fastest third-mile track in the Midwest. Gates open at 5:30 with a green flag at 6:30 for IMCA modified, sport compacts, hobby stocks, sport mods, and Race Saver sprint cars. $10 for adults, $5 for youth 6 to 12 years old, and kids under 6 get in free. Located just 10 minutes east of Lincoln on Highway 34 and online at eagleraceway.com.
Get ready for the victory lap as we make our way into Turn 4 on the front stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
Turn 4. Welcome to it, and thank you for joining us this morning on the front stretch. I'm Dan Taylor, joined as always by my good friend Buddy Ray. Even though friends fight, I think Craig was a little bit worried he was on an episode of Jerry Springer right there.
If we had a dollar for every time some of our mutual friends are like, man, you guys act like you're married off the air.
Well, one of the guesses as to what the big announcement was is that you and I were getting married, and even though it's now legal in Iowa, that is not it. Obviously, it's the Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet, but there's no reason for us to get married. I mean, we bicker like a married couple, we fight like a married couple, we just don't have the paperwork to prove it.
And because of FCC regulations, I just want to clarify that even though we might be a couple, Dan is my wife.
I appreciate you putting it that way, even though I don't appreciate you saying that. Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet Saturday, July 20th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. Go to the Facebook page and vote on your driver you want to be the fan vote. We've already got some votes. Terry Phillips has received some votes already, so might have to be tracking down a phone number for Terry Phillips. I'm not entirely sure if I knew what I got myself into with this, but we also created an event page. You can go to the front stretch. It's on the front stretch page. The Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs Saturday, July 20th. Invite as many friends as you can. We want to make this a big deal, and we want to make it so that a lot of people can come to this and show and just see exactly that dirt track racing isn't dying. It's alive and well. And actually, Kelly Bowen's got a vote now. Travis Dickus has got a vote now. Whew.
Travis Dickus.
Feel free to add in your own votes, by the way. Don O'Neill, Chad Simpson. Add them in there. We would love to talk about them. So, but let's take a break from the Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet for just a second, and we'll head over to the phone lines. We've got Kurt Bonner on the line. Kurt, did I say that right?
Yep.
All right, Kurt. Right. How you doing, man?
Doing all right. How you guys doing?
Good. We appreciate you calling in. You've got a True Grit Challenge you want to talk about at Eagle Raceway, right?
Yeah, I do. A couple buddies of mine, we got together 20 years ago, July 6th, 1993. One of our good friends, Jeff Fossler, and his son Tanner, 2-year-old son, were killed. And for the 20th anniversary of that, we wanted to do a memorial race of some kind, just to remember them, let them know they haven't been forgotten. And what we're doing is we've raised $2,800. It's going to the hobby stock race. It's a normal weekly race. It is going to be draw, redraw, and it's going to pay $1,000 to win, $8 for second, $6 for third, $400 for fourth, and then Roger Hayden is taking his normal purse and sliding it underneath us.
Wow.
Fifth place would get what's normally a winning purse. It'll be over $4,100 for a weekly show.
Wow.
How much is the winner receiving again?
Winner gets $1,000.
Second gets $800. Third gets $600. Good payouts for a one-night hobby stock
Let me tell
race.
you how good that is, Dan.
I got a pretty good idea how good that is.
Sport mods at a lot of our specials nationwide, wherever you go, the sport mods, the A mods don't even get that kind of money. This is awesome.
And it's all donated.
Now, Kurt, would this be a good reason why, and I noticed this at Eagle last night running, there was a lot, I bet you there was a good 10 or 15 new hobby stocks there last night that either they were new or they only been there once or twice. Is this a good reason as to why they were there?
That's my guess. You noticed that too, huh?
Yeah, I was looking, I was like, well, either that's a new car for somebody or that's somebody new I've never seen. But I do know that we have Clint Llewellyn and his brother coming down for this next Saturday. That much I do know because I've talked to Clint and we've had him on the front stretch, but his brother runs really good in the hobby stocks. So
yeah, I've heard from racers in South Dakota, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, obviously Nebraska, all say they've heard about this and they want to come down to it. Now, whether they actually do or not, we'll find out.
yeah, what racers say and what they do are two different things.
Yeah.
Kurt, if you don't mind, talk to me about Jeff. Was he a hobby stock racer? Is that the reason why we're going with a hobby stock race?
No, his favorite class, he ran the tow trucks at Eagle, and he's the one that got me into it. I run the tow trucks at Eagle. I've been doing that for 21 years.
Hey,
and go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm kind of asking. Is this the same Kurt Bonner that?
Yeah.
That you got in a? Is that the one that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make a connection between the one that
Dan's over here smiling at me.
the one that Buddy tried to get into a fight with, and the guy that's on the phone with me right now. So.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I was on the phone with Buddy till about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
I know the feeling. Man, it's hard to get off the phone some days. Well, let's get back to this event real quick. The True Grit Challenge, Saturday, July 6th.
Yes.
All right. Down at Eagle Raceway, obviously, IMCA Hobby Stocks, a grand to win, plus $2,800 added to the normally weekly purse.
That's correct.
No, I want to clarify because racers are going to want to know this listening. There is no added entry fee, and it's just a $20 pit pass, and it is sanctioned for state, regional, national, all the points.
I've been meaning to make my way out to Eagle Raceway this year, and as far as I know, Saturday, July 6th is available, so I'm pretty sure you might want to call Roger and let him know to have a couple extra beers in stock for me.
Kurt, I do have a second question I want to ask you. Dan and I were talking about this in turn one, and you are on the Hook It crew.
Good call. Thank you.
Have you noticed that the racing, that we've had an increase in either rollovers or red flag racing? Do you think that's, as a tow official, in you're for 21 years you've been putting cars on the hook, do you think that's associated to the driving, or is it just hard racing? What's your opinion on that?
Well, this year I think you could probably throw in the weather, because how many rainouts have we had?
A lot.
Racers get antsy when they're not able to race every week.
That is a really good point. Why can't you make points like that, bud? No, that's a really good point, because they haven't been able to race. So obviously we talked about it in turn 3 with Joe Koziski that the track's income is down. I didn't even make the connection that the drivers' incomes are down because they're not able to get their purses.
Well, here's what happens as a driver. You look at the forecast for this upcoming Saturday, and you see it's sunshine, but you look at the 30-day forecast, and the Saturday after, they're calling for rain. So you better get on the ball and get those points right now, because you don't know if you're racing in 2 weeks or not. So I see where Kurt's coming from.
Yeah, that's right. And then, I've always, my worst part of the season is also my favorite part of the season, and that's the start of the season. I love it because, I missed racing, but I worry about it because drivers tend to forget how to drive sometimes. No offense, buddy.
Really?
Wow.
All right, Kurt. Hey, we appreciate you calling in. The Jeff and Tanner Fossler True Grit Challenge, July 6th at Eagle Raceway. $1,000 to win for the IMCA Hobby Stocks. Plus, Roger Hayden has added in a little bit more money, $2,800 to the normal Hobby Stock purse.
This is going to be a huge Hobby Stock race. I think last night we had 46 Hobby Stocks at Eagle. It wouldn't surprise me if we didn't honestly have near 75, 80 Hobby Stocks.
I think that's Roger's fear, and I kind of hope to make that fear come true.
Well, best of luck to you, Kurt. We appreciate you giving us a call, and have a good rest of the season.
All right, thank you, and everybody come on out next Saturday.
All right, we'll do our best to get people out there. Again, Saturday, July 6th, that's the True Grit Challenge at Eagle Raceway, and that was Kurt Bonner joining us. You can also call up anything you want to talk about. It's open phone lines for the next 10 minutes. We're going to fill it with whatever we can think of to talk about, but we do appreciate it if you would call us up and give us something relevant to talk about. 402-573-0590. You can give us a call on the Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet Saturday, July 20th. Maybe you can persuade some fans to vote in your favor for who you want to have come out to the Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet. A lot of people voting for Travis Dickus, Kelly Bowen. We've gotten some good votes already this morning. So get to the front stretch and place your vote. Get to the phone line. Give us a call, 402-573-0590. But let's talk. Can we talk a little bit of NASCAR?
Yeah, because it got postponed due to rain. I tell you what, what track? Kentucky.
Yes.
For all week, you know what I associate Kentucky with? I get the opening scene to the Dukes of Hazzard with Waylon Jennings,
really?
The good old boys. I'm thinking I'm going to see the General Lee come.
Oh my gosh,
Hazard, Kentucky.
Obviously, the race was postponed last night due to rain, and I haven't checked the forecast yet for rain, but last night when I was hearing, today doesn't look very good itself. So 11 a.m. race for the Central Time. Everybody listening to us, 11 a.m. is on TNT. You're going to have to, as far as I was concerned with my dish, my guide didn't update, so I have to randomly set it. But I'm just going to do the easy thing. I'm going to go get lunch at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs and enjoy myself some Boom Boom Shrimp.
What the name of that cheeseburger? What's the name of it?
The Texas-style cheeseburger.
That's exactly what I had a customer over at Joe's Karting, and he goes, "Where's there a good cheeseburger?" I was like, "See that place over there, that diner, the Quaker Steak and Lube? They got." This is what I told him. It's a Texas-style cheeseburger thing. It's got like Texas toast, and it's got everything but the kitchen sink on it.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole of the front stretch, and they're helping us out with giving us some parking spaces and some area in their parking lots for the Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet. So we always appreciate that. So the Kentucky race today at 11 a.m. Let's back up just a little bit and talk about the point standings after Sonoma. It gets a little bit tighter as Carl Edwards was able to finish in front of Jimmy Johnson. Clint Boyer holds steady in third place, 45 points out of the lead. Kevin Harvick fourth, Matt Kenseth fifth. But a couple of guys I want to talk about. This has begun officially today with the Kentucky race. We have begun the race to the chase, which is the 10 races leading up to.
And there's some people not making the chase this year, I don't think.
There's a lot of drivers they've begun to slip at the wrong time. Casey Kane, Jeff Gordon is doing better. Joey Logano, Tony Stewart took a big fall after it wasn't a bad race. He just got into an accident late at Sonoma. Kurt Busch is on his way up. Eric Almirola seems to maybe he peaked.
Plateaued.
And now we're kind of seeing a bit of a downturn. So a lot of these teams right now with 10 races to go have realized it's go time right now. We have got to go. There's no more screwing around. We've only got 10 races to get it done. Someone like Ryan Newman, he's on a contract year once again with Stewart-Haas Racing. Finishes in the top 10, I think they'd be offering him another contract. Finishes outside of the top 10, I think the rumors are going to really start to swirl as to where he's going.
What's your gut tell you? I see Newman going somewhere else and Harvick taking over that ride.
Well, yeah, Harvick is going to come over to Stewart-Haas Racing. That's no doubt about it. I don't think Stewart-Haas Racing is, after the troubles they've had with expanding to a three-person team, is excited to expand to a four-person team.
You're limited to what, 5?
4. Four is the most drivers you can have.
Tony, Danica, Ryan,
and Kevin.
Okay.
So that would be your 4 drivers if Ryan re-signs. But it kind of sounds like there's rumors going around that he's going to go to Richard Childress Racing. Now, there's also word that Jeff Burton has re-signed with Richard Childress for 2014. Kevin obviously leaving.
A lot of news about 2014 starting already.
Already, it's starting to brew. You wonder when Austin and Ty will make their way up to the Cup Series. I really hope they leave Austin down in Nationwide for another year, maybe even 2. It wouldn't hurt him to get 3 good years under his belt, but I got a feeling says they're going to do 2 and done. They're going to take him up to the Cup Series and start getting him up there. So, again, Ryan Newman, let's say, speculate for a second, he goes to Richard Childress Racing. It's a 1-year deal again. So, and it all depends on sponsorship again.
As a driver, if I was a driver in the Cup Series, I would feel a lot more safe, secure, and settled having a multi-year contract versus, from year to year to year to year, because it leaves so much open to interpretation as to what you're going to do. You sign a 1-year contract today, and tomorrow somebody's going, well, what are you doing in a year? I haven't even started the current year.
Take a look at the point standings following Sonoma. Look at the top 10 drivers and tell me who you think is not going to make the chase. Page 3. Who isn't going to make the chase?
Top 10?
Yeah.
Oh, hands down, Keselowski.
I'm not going to argue with that at all. Martin Truex?
50-50.
Don't give me 50-50. You got to give me an answer.
Yes.
I
think the win helped him.
I'm starting to get worried about Dale.
Dale's
really starting to get. Oh, if he has one bet, look, there is 63 points separating. Go to from second to 7th, 70-point difference. You have one bad race, and it's even worse when you go from Dale's position 7th, tied for 6th, 94 points out of the lead, 479 points. You go all the way back to 12th, Paul Menard, 128 points. There's a 30-point separation between those two drivers.
Yeah, but you look at Dale Jr. Dale Jr. could run circles around Paul Menard or Casey Kane, I think.
Not if his engine's blown, which, oh, by the way, 2 out of the last 4 races he's blown an engine.
They getting up from Toyota now?
He blows an engine. We're going to Daytona. It's a wild card because you could be leading the race and totally destroy your car and finish in the 30s. I don't think Dale Jr. is safe at all.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me change your question up a little bit. We're Chase to the race. Do you think Bowyer
and Chase?
Yeah.
Yeah, Clint Bowyer?
Edwards and Bowyer, do you think they have anything left in the tank for Jimmy Johnson when the chase actually starts?
Oh, yeah.
You think they're kind of holding back a little bit, and then once that chase hits, it's game on?
That's the nice thing about the chase is that Jimmy Johnson can build as big of a lead as he wants to. Point lead doesn't matter over second place. Wins matter.
Yeah.
That's what matters. You don't get anything bonus for going into the chase being the regular season leader. So Clint Bowyer and Carl Edwards are just simply, they're trying to do what everyone else is trying to do and rack up points. Rack up wins so that they can have as many bonus points. It could come down to a scenario. Jimmy's got 3 wins, but if...
Look down there at 29th. David Reagan, absolutely no shot of being in the chase with that 1 win.
Yeah.
Oh, he does have a shot?
No, I'm saying,
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he's the...
but how cool would it be if David Reagan
20.
was in the chase? If he could ever make the chase, that would be kind of cool.
I think he's pretty much mathematically eliminated. Let's talk about mathematically eliminated. Denny Hamlin has fallen again. He is 25th in the points.
Had he not been injured, is he a chase contender?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. He's a chase contender.
You know who I'm
kind of... he has to deal with the injury, and now you got to wonder at what point in time did they decide to shut it down and let him go and have back surgery to get that finally corrected.
Yeah. Jeff Gordon, is he in the chase or no?
God, that guy is so... I'm going to say no. His bad luck this year, no, I don't think it is.
Tony Stewart.
At all.
Tony Stewart, yes.
Yes, I think Tony will still make it.
He'll squeak in.
Yeah. I think he's got one more
Jeff Gordon not being in
off.
the chase is just...
His bad luck is ruining everything for him. It's absolutely his bad luck. Listen, we appreciate you guys tuning in to us today on the front stretch. We're going to pub it like crazy for the next couple of weeks because I think it's a big event. The Silver Dollar Nationals meet and greet Saturday, July 20th at Quaker Steak and Lube. Get to meet drivers like Scott Bloomquist, Kenny Schrader, Brian Burkhofer, Kyle Burke, plus we've got one more driver we're trying to work on, and then we've got the fan vote. So we'll add 2 more drivers to the list next week. Get to the Front Stretch Facebook page, vote on who you want to be there for the fan vote, and then make sure to tell us you're going to attend the event so that way we can make sure to plan accordingly.
You'll be there. I'll be there. So
straight.
you can't count me as a fan vote because I'll already be there. And then we're going to be pit reporting from I-80 that night.
Go ahead and vote.
No. No, I'm voting. I'm just saying people can't vote for me because I'm already going to be there.
Okay, I see what you're saying. If you have your Silver Dollar Nationals ticket, it's a VIP, free race at Joe's Karting, 20% off your food bill at Quaker Steak and Lube, and you go to the front of the line. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
In 1999, Wade Cross decided he was tired of overpaying for shocks, so he created FX Shocks. Now FX suspension customers reach across the United States with countless wins and championships, including national champion in 3 major IMCA classes, plus Super Nationals champions in all 4 of the Saturday night's main events. Get your FX Shocks today. One-on-one consultation is waiting for you at 308-383-9609, 308-383-9609.
It's time to check out what all the dirt drivers already know. Joe's Karting is the Metro's best place to go for kart racing, where the only speed restriction is how good you are, reaching up to 45 miles per hour while twisting and turning through a 25,000 square foot building. Joe's Karting is sure to raise your heart rate. It's time to find out how fast your knuckles will turn white. Located in Council Bluffs, just north of Bass Pro and next to AMC Theaters. Online at joeskarting.com. Get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the Front Stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.